winner for the libretto is Alan Gordon.
Just a peck. The last time I wrote my wife's name, it was on a check.
Of the Lyricist Award, and he'll introduce his work.
Here we are again, my boy. Incredible, absurd. You plant a seed and something will sprout, and with your help I'll figure this out.
Yeah, you and me will figure it out.
Word for word, word for word.
But at least he sticks around. He's always up for spending the day. Our connection is unique. I barely have to speak. I already know what he's going to say. Oh yes, we talk. And sometimes we argue. But he always comes out on top. And there ain't no party like a self-pity party. 'Cause a self-pity party don't stop.
My name is Daniel Mate, and I won the Kleban Prize after having submitted 8 songs from 4 different shows. So one was The Longing and the Short of It, which is a song cycle for which I wrote music and lyrics. One is Middle School Mysteries, a musical for young people, middle school age, also for which I wrote music and lyrics and book. The Story of Job Beth, which is a modern-day American retelling of the Book of Job from the Old Testament, which is much more fun than it sounds, for which I also wrote book music and lyrics, and The Trouble with Doug, for which I'm the lyricist and co-book writer with my composer, collaborator, Will Aronson, who also co-wrote the book with me. It's incredibly meaningful on a personal, emotional level. It's sort of validation and recognition for my work that gives me just a ton of added confidence that this is indeed what I'm meant to be doing. But perhaps more importantly, on a very concrete level, it means that I can actually afford to focus on this as a full-time pursuit and not just as a pipe dream hobby. It's a real transition point, a game changer, where I can actually make my life about the thing I love to do, the thing I'm best at, and start devoting all of my time to this career, which really requires a full-time commitment.
The song I sang tonight was called Word for Word. It's from a musical called The Trouble with Doug by Daniel Mate and Will Aronson. It's a musical adaptation of Kafka's Metamorphosis, in which obviously the son in a family turns into a cockroach in the book. But in this adaptation, it's the favorite son of his family, a loopy but basically functional family. And all of a sudden, this disaster befalls this much adored son, who starts to turn into a slug. I had auditioned for another Palo Alto show that I wasn't quite right for, but the artistic director out there kept me in mind, and when this show came into Palo Alto last year ago this summer, she just called me up and offered to me. So I had never met them before, and we've become very good friends, and I'm a huge fan. I write too, so we have this mutual admiration society.
Daniel is, he's writing for also a character, but I mean, I think that there's something more snappable or tunable, or it's easier to sing in that there's, I feel like there's more of a, you can hear it on the radio instantaneously, 3 minutes of it.
There's a new version of Titanic that we designed for a small ensemble, actually only 20 people, and a much smaller orchestra. and it's about to premiere. It's going to have its European premiere at the Southwark Playhouse in London, opening on July 31st of this year. But what's exciting about it is that we put back into the show one of my favorite ballads that we cut from the original Broadway production. Not because there was any flaw in the performance, but simply because that particular production, somehow it didn't seem to fit. But the new version that we've done now, it fits beautifully. And since Titanic is about social class, it's a love couple from England. She's upper class and he's middle class, and that's why they're running away, so that they can find a home in America where class doesn't matter. And it's a song called I Give You My Hand. I guess it starts with, they've had a fight, and Carol Clark looks at Charles Clark as they're sort of on the deck of Titanic, and she sings, "You and I now stand on the brink of our new lifetime, with our future clear and bright. I give you my hand, I give you my soul in keeping, all I am is yours tonight." And they continue, and they of course fall in love and make up. Ultimately, I can't say who survives, and well, I can say that unfortunately Charles